everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the DXF special Edward Newgate Whitebeard figure from One Piece. Now, I have had this figure for a little bit actually, but I didn't want to review it until I knew the character. I knew the figure looked cool, and I knew a little bit about Whitebeard, but I sort of wanted to at least see a moment. I wanted to see this moment, or at least a moment like that, in the manga before I continued. And just very recently in the manga I have come to this part, or at least something very similar to it. He was wearing his full cape and everything in the scene, but I just wanted to have a cool looking Whitebeard using his fruit power. Now they've tried to recreate the effect of his fruit creating earthquakes effectively in a figure form, and that's very tricky to do because one, it's a hard thing to really depict, and the anime and manga do it in such a unique way that, like, how do you even start for a figure like that? And their answer is this line of prize figures, the DXF Special. Now, there are a few figures like this. There's a Whitebeard, a Zoro, a Luffy, a Mihawk. I'm not sure if there are any others announced at this point, but there's been a few, and mostly they do similar things to what at the Figure Arts Zero line does, which is a figurine with effect, and trying to achieve a very particular look and feel by having effect. And Whitebeard is one of the more interesting ones, especially since it's a new take on the power that I haven't seen before, at least in figure form. And yeah, it's just really cool. And as you can see from the box, it's just the main promo image sort of carrying over on the front and on the sides, and a sort of stylized one on the back. Nothing too crazy. It is a standard Crane Game prize figure. When it was released overseas, it is at a bit more of a premium, and it does feel like a more premium figure, but at the end of the day, it is still a prize figure. But taken out of the box and set up, you can tell that this figure is something special. It's not that big, but it is way bigger than the box because of how long it is. And it commands a lot of shelf presence just because of the striking blue of the effect, the unique sculpting of the figure itself, and the unique sculpting of the effect. I like it that it's not just sort of like a flat webbed sort of design. I like that it's sort of concave a bit. There's crinkles all over the place. It feels like something has been shattered in midair, which is pretty damn cool. I like that the base of the figure are sort of broken rocks around him, and it holds it up quite well. Both the effect part fits into his hand as well as the base, so everything feels very solid. And the detail on this figure is pretty damn fantastic, especially for a prize figure. There is some subtle shading throughout, and some great detail work. His head does look a little bit tiny, and it's not super pronounced, but I think that's fine in service of what they were trying to achieve with this figure. But it's just cool looking at it from different angles, rotating it around, shining light off it in different ways. It's just really cool to see. Even things that they didn't really need to do, but should do if you want an accurate figure, is putting the Whitebeard flag logo on his back, because you're not going to be seeing it from the back, but it is cool. Because there have been like one or two Ace figures that I've seen where they don't do the tattoo on his back just because they're like, oh, it's a prize figure, it doesn't really matter. But it is noticeable. And here it's nice that they put in that effort. And just having a look at the figure in different ways, it's just really, really nice. The light bounces off all the muscles, all the effects so well. I highly recommend testing it in different lighting conditions just to see how nice this figure looks. It's just really good, really clean. No real complaints about it at all, beyond that it could probably be a touch bigger, or the proportions could be changed just a touch, because I do think that his head should be a bit more prominent, or maybe a slight shift in the skin tone to make it a little bit brighter, because he is pretty suntanned, or at least looks pretty suntanned like this. But generally it is quite nice. All the scar details good, the rippling muscles, everything looks fantastic. I like that the actual effect parts aren't just copy and paste from each other. They are both unique sculpts, so the figure does feel very special and look very special. It is a DXF special after all. That wasn't planned, it just sort of came off the cuff. And I apologise if you thought that was crappy. But yeah, nothing too crazy on this figure. Pretty short review if I'm being honest, because there's not that much to talk about, because at the end of the day it is a prize figure and it achieves what it sets out to do very quickly, very clearly. And it's just a rock solid figure, especially seeing as Whitebeard doesn't get a whole lot of figures, especially not now. But I think it's really cool to have, and it sort of captures a moment in time, which is very special for a figurine, especially a budget figurine. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you all next time.